Blurpomatatomus. Potamus. Okay. Well, thank you. And yes, thank you and welcome to the party. Let's go ahead and move forward. We have our community advocate and local activist, Levi, joining us. Welcome, Levi.
Sorry, one moment. Sorry about this.
Okay.
I'm a little bit. I'm like I was in the park for a little bit, but it's really important to remind myself that it's like there's a lot going on, but we all deserve a little bit of respite and relief.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And if you don't mind me asking, what are your pronouns?
No, any as long as they're used respectfully. I'm non-binary identified. But thank you for asking. Just don't be shady. Just kind.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So tell us, what is your message that you want to convey today?
Yeah. The important thing in all of these times that I think get forgotten is the ways in which our message as trans people is kind of being whitewashed. That it is being cleansed into this idea of the passable, respectable, middle class individuals are this defining marker in who and what we are. We forget that the foundations were laid on trans women, oftentimes poor and Black, who lacked housing and security. That these are people who experienced institutionalization, being called crazy, people who were pushed to substance use. That the leaders and the people who we look forward to, are like look behind. Sorry, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera lived their last days on the street, and on the foundation of that, it's important that we remember that housing is a critical component of trans liberation, and that the fight has only just begun, because now, we're talking about Comptons and reclaim the history of Comptons, but to ask ourselves, what is it as a community we will need to be able to sustain ourselves? And baby, that's property. We need to be able to understand. I'm so sorry about these notifications, y'all. It's important that trans folks are in San Francisco be able to understand that the defund the police movement is probably one of the best ways we possibly have of attaining funds to have buildings that are under our control and helm. That until trans people are able to create housing programs for trans, God damn it, sorry. that until people stop messaging me if you're hearing this. That until we are able, I'm so sorry, y'all.
It's okay.
Until trans folk themselves are creating the programs for us to be able to integrate into the broader world, until trans individuals are owning these buildings and able to fully control the net wealth of San Francisco property, we will only be used as a way of polishing up a politician's political resume. That we need to be able to become an economic force in a real substantial way within the Tenderloin, if not elsewhere in the city. And on a very real way, defunding the police is providing a opportunity for us to really take hold of necessary currency that will be able to lift us all up, that will be able to give us real restorative equity.
Yes.
It's great that San Francisco wants to, give the city hall trans colors, and they want to paint our flag places. But that is the low-hanging fruit. We want the tree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Keep our eye on the prize.
We want more than just the facade.
We want more than the facade. We want the building.
Absolutely.
And that there are individuals who I'm speaking to right now who are part of the defund police kind of like movement in San Francisco that want to have community stakeholders who are trans, who are Black, who are brown, and really kind of have our voices collectively be heard in the reallocation of funds. We talk about reparations, right, for individuals. I want to see how this city is able to see us as communities with entrenched histories of subjugation and marginalization. And until I can see the city do that with our community by giving us what's owed to us in our own communities, in our own district, then it's just like any kind of talk that they have about supporting reparations on an individual level is just it's what's the word I'm thinking of? It's cheap. It is pandering.
Mm. And it is. And you know what? I can't speak much on the dynamic out there in the city, unfortunately. But I'm so proud that we have people like you and everyone else that's like yourself that are speaking up and not afraid to speak for what you want. And they always say, if a closed mouth doesn't get fed, and unfortunately, we're speaking and we're not even being heard.
We're not being heard.
We're not.
Yeah.
And so we need to continue telling our stories. We need to continue and memorialize those stories and put them in the history books. We only hear the somewhat good things, right?
Yeah.
So
It's understanding that our leaders are complicated. That I can imagine Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera had a ton of the girls, and other people be like, "She's a bitch. She's evil. She's messy. She's crazy. She's destructive. She's shady." And these people are still worthy of a good life, and that we are worthy of a good life. But our individual character defects does not mean that we have less than human treatment in this world. And it's important that we all remember our own unique individuality. Every single time a Black person gets shot and killed by police, what happens? The media drags them through the mud in their character. And you know what? We can't have that happen anymore. We have to be able to accept that humans deserve human treatment. So
we
thank you.
definitely
Sorry
do.
about that.
No, don't ever
and
apologize. Don't ever apologize. Your voice it needs to be heard. And so we're keeping space for you. And thank you so much for sharing with us. I also wanted to let you know that it's a pleasure having you. That melanin is popping, honey. I love that hair. It is everything. And I wish we were all in person, but since we are not, I hope that you're maintaining safe distances from everybody, or if not, just make.
And I have my mask, heavy duty from last year.
Baby, that is heavy duty. Okay, you better come through. All right, and so, what are we doing in the comments? Do we have any questions in the comments?
Fine.
Oh. There you go. Levi,
yes.
would you like to give any shout outs to anybody out there while you still have some time with us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna send this to my cousin. So my cousin Kiki and my cousin Victoria. I'm the third generation of open trans femme in my family. My grandfather has a trans cousin who's in the UK, who's like in her 70s, still asking me when I'm gonna get surge. Love her to death. Intergenerational dynamics of trans community is real, y'all. Shout outs to my cousin Brandon, who's my father's cousin, aka Kiki. Shout out to, of course, my mother Aria, my trans mother. Shout out to anyone who's watching this, who's struggling right now, and understand that you are not forgotten. And a shout out to anyone who's trying to do the work and doesn't really care about getting the recognition. It took so many people to get me to where I'm at today, and it's gonna take a whole bunch of me to be able to create real change.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
No, thank you. And I don't want anybody to forget what you just said as well. We are worthy of a good life. So thank you so much, Levi. I want you to have a wonderful day. It's going to be a great weekend. Be safe. Absolutely. And make sure that you're watching what's going on. Okay.
And wash your hands. Okay. Bye, y'all.